Welcome to the NAC Education 2023 online program. This is Colour Essentials and my name's Robert Kovacs, Director of Education. I'll be your host. So let's get into what we'll be covering with Colour Essentials. A great place to start, definitely with our whole NAC colour collection. So the agenda, as I said, this is a full modular program. This is module number 1. So let's get into what we'll be covering off with Colour Essentials. It's all about NAC Soft. Our second module is about NAC Permanent. Our third is Colour Palette. And our final in the series is Blonde 360. Now, with each of all of these, there will be a quiz that you can then complete and you'll get your electronic certificate. So make sure that you do take notes. Do make sure that you do actually complete the quiz as you move through each of the programs. Now, of course, you can hop on, hop off if there's a particular product that you'd like to cover. So, for example, if it's Soft, Permanent, Colour Palette, which is all about our fashion series, or Blonde 360, which is our lightning series, definitely you can then self-select. Alternatively, a 1, 2, 3, 4 step approach is the best way to go. So let's cover off what we're going to speak about in this particular module. We will speak about an introduction to the brand. So getting to know a little bit about us here at NAC. The brand, hair science. We'll talk a little bit about what goes in the tube. NAC Soft. So this module does focus on this product line here. So NAC Soft is what the focus will be. Our Demi Permanent Color, the activators that go with it, and then client consultation. Now, module 1 and 2, we do cover off on client consultation on both. So it's good to understand that there'll be a bit of a repetition just with the second module, but then we'll move through to more in-depth information on module 3 and module 4. So our mission was to create beautiful hair care for everyone. So that's really what the brand's all about, to really create beautiful hair care, an Australian brand. And really, we're surrounded by hairdressers. So there's a very close connection to the industry, to you working in the salon. That's our connection to you. So that's our mission. Our adventure started in 2003, and this year we celebrate 20 years. We're very excited about that. We're one of the quickest growing hair care brands here in Australia and also to globally. We have our global partners in Belgium, Netherlands, America, and all throughout Europe, Poland. Yeah, we're everywhere. South Africa, the list goes on. Spain. So we've got some lovely global partners that love our product, as well as being, you know, our homeland, which is Australia. We love our range and we love your support. NAC, so you may think, well, what does NAK stand for? Natural Australian Culture. So that's the acronym. So natural ingredients, ethically sourced, full circular approach, biodegradable or recyclable packaging where possible, Australian, and then culture. So culture of our brand and our industry. And the beautiful imagery that you can see is our campaign shoot that we shot for our latest look. So very much representative of like what we're all about, a very clean, pure, landscape, as well as hair artistry and design. So Colour with Integrity, we're going to get right into the colour now. It's a collaboration between chemistry, science, nature, and artistry. So they're the 4 cornerstones of what our colour is all about. So let's look into chemistry. So we use the lowest amount of ammonia or no ammonia. So that's in the science part. With the chemistry itself, we use microchromatic pigment. So that actually means that the molecules are really, really small. Now, if you're a first-time user to NAC, what you'll notice is that when you go to wash or cleanse the color out of the hair once you've processed it, you may notice that the color will appear a little bit deeper than what you're expecting. That's just showing you that the color's fully saturated. Of course, when it's blow dried, it's exactly what the shade should look like on the actual color chart. But what that's really demonstrating is that we've really saturated the hair with lots of color. We don't actually need to open the cuticle as much, so therefore not as much damage. So that's what the color with integrity, the chemistry, and as I said before, the science, which is low ammonia or no ammonia. So this particular product, Soft Color, this guy here in the nude pink packaging, has no ammonia. So it's a really beautiful product to work with. No concerns about condition. It actually supports the hair mantle, looks after the hair fabric when it comes to coloring, and a beautiful addition to NAC Permanent. Now we'll talk about that in module 2, a little bit at the end of this, called color balancing. So nature, we've got naturally derived ingredients of white tea and orchid butter. We'll speak about them a little bit later on. And then artistry, really what the beauty about our color range is that it's an integrated color range. So for example, if I show you the base shade selector, you'll notice that there's a pink dot, and also to where there's a pink dot on the color chart, that means the color is found in soft. So 86 shades in soft, so you'll pretty much covers the whole color chart. And I'll go through each of the shades a little bit more in this segment. In our next segment, we really break down each of the color families. So really good ones to watch to really understand exactly, okay, well, what does this shade do? Where does it fit and how does it work? So let's look at chromatic micropigments. I mentioned that before. They're really, really quite small. This enables us to penetrate inside the hair very effectively, both in soft and permanent. So we get a very rich saturation of color. We're not really needing to open the cuticle up further, so we're not creating a lot of damage. So therefore, you'll get amazing shine. And this is a comment that everyone makes when they use our color for the first time. They go, wow, the hair's really shiny. And that's what you'd expect to use from that color. White tea, as I mentioned before, a natural ingredient. Now, a lot of you may drink white tea or green tea. So teas are very good as antioxidants and polyphenols. What they enable us to do is it's like a detox. It detoxifies the hair, looks after the hair fabric, and fights against free radicals, pollution, chlorine, day-to-day living. So it really does look after the hair. And then we've got orchid butter. And as you can see, it's a natural flower extract. If you get to know our range, we really do like using flower extracts throughout the whole range, but orchid butter has the ability to really protect and soothe the skin. And that's found in soft, permanent, and our activators. So orchid butter is definitely an ingredient that we do want because it really does look after the skin, and also to how the skin's like being affected when it comes to coloring, and we want to make sure that that skin's left really, really in great condition. It's not being sensitized. So orchid butter and white tea, as you can see, naturally derived ingredients, additives, and they're beautiful to have within our color range. So the actual color collection, so we say a harmonious color collection exclusively designed for salons, delivering true tone and color brilliance. So we call our whole range a collection because it is a collection. And within that range, the way that we recognize what the shades are about, we use a leveling system. So we do use numbers and letters. So it's alphanumeric. So for example, this soft color is a 6.0 or a 6N. So it depends on how you like to work with colors. Some of our clients, our guests, like to use numbers, some like to use letters. We do tend to speak in numbers. So you'll notice throughout all of our presentations, if you see a live presentation, all of the education team will preferably use numbers because it's what we're the most comfortable with, and most people will use numbers, but we've got numbers and letters. So the way that we've created our system, so for example, 6.0 is a 6 level, a 0 is a natural, and in this example, this happens to be an 801. So an 801 is a natural ash, and that will have also a little bit of natural and ash tone. So for example, that happens to be an 801. So you can see there on screen, it's quite slaty, and that would be a good way of describing the natural ashes. So it gives you an idea of how we've built our color range. So we've got primary reflex, some shades, for example, a 6.0, or there might be a 6.6, which is red, which we'll get to. They're primary, and then we use combination. So we might use a red and a copper, and then we'll create a brand new color altogether. So that's really how the whole color system has been built. So we've got our naturals, our ashes, our violets, our golds, copper, mahogany, red, brunette, chestnut, and matte. So these are our primary reflex. So for example, I'll remove the naturals so you can see that they're our natural range. I move through to the ashes. Now with the ashes, I'll show you an ash intensive or an ash extra, actually ash intensive. So So quite blue. As we move through to our violets, that's on the other side of the color chart. Our violet tones, oh, I've got that bit scrunched up. So you can see the violet tones. We then move through to the golds. Now the golds will have the gold coppers on them as well. So that's giving you an idea where we're using combinations. So that's that we've got our gold reflex, and then we've got copper and gold. And then we've got our primary reflex, the pure coppers. So you'll see that the color chart, as you maneuver through, one side will be cool, one side will be warm, according to what you're doing. We then have the mahoganies. The mahoganies are broken into two families, gold mahogany and then the pure mahoganies. And even with that, there's double reflex within this tab. So there will be representatives of each of those combinations, which I'll get to on the next slide. We have our reds. So the reds through the range. And this, the beauty about the swatches is that you can actually show that to the client. Obviously, I'm not a red person, but that's where they work really well, because you can actually show the actual swatches to your guest, your client in the chair. We have our brunettes. The brunettes are cool. These are a cool brown, a very, very slaty cool brown. So really good to neutralize and also to add a nice warm, well, not warm, but it's like a cool warm reflect. Chestnut. So these are quite beautiful. Chestnut and mahogany are unique to us. They're kind of like reds, or, you know, everyone will have a red or a gold, but chestnut mahogany, they're really lovely shades to really introduce to your client if it's a fashion reflex that you're looking at. And I'll finish off with the last in our primary reflex, which is our mattes. So these are our greeny. They're kind of like a green. We don't use the word green. We never use the word green. We always say matte. It's a green basically. So it's designed really to neutralize warmth. Then we've got a combination reflex. So pretty much all the families that I've shared with you, but there'll be combinations of that. So there'll be a 00 or 001. Now, one thing at NAC, if you're covering gray hair, you must add a 0. So it's, in most cases, it will be a 00 or 00, as we say, or a 001 if you want a cooler result. So 01, 11, 111, 21, 32. So you've got combinations here as you're moving through each of the families. You've got your chestnut, gold mahogany, you've got gold copper, copper gold, copper intensive, copper red, obviously lots of coppers, red intensive, extra red intensive. So that's a triple reflect. So anywhere where you see a double or a triple, it's like intensifying it one more. So 666 is very deep, very rich. Red violet, violet intense. And there'll also then be, on the next slide, we've got our extra violet. So a triple violet, mahogany intense, mahogany red, mahogany violet. And then the ultimate blondes. Now, we don't really speak about the ultimate blondes in this module, but we do recognize that they're a part of our family. They're our high lifts, and that's what they look like. So they're kind of, they lift and tone, but we won't speak about them. That's the last module, Blonde 360, that we talk about the super lighteners. So really good to fully understand exactly where they all fit, what they do, and the whole color collection, really. So where they actually fit around the color wheel, I know that for a lot of you that this is quite important. 0.3 gold, you can see each of the families as they move around the color wheel. And then inside the color wheel, we've got our 0.0, 00, 001. Now you'll notice that the 001 is very much at the bluey end, so at the very cool end. The 00s are not warm or cool. The 0.0s are not warm or cool. You'll notice that the 0.7s are right in the middle, and that's just telling you that the 0.7s are like, they're more like a cooler brown. So that's where they're designed, or that's how they work within the whole color wheel and the whole color family. Our leveling system, so 1 is black, 10 is blonde, and this is a universal leveling system that we use. So this is how we've created the actual families. So black, and then you've got blonde. And this is pretty much what every European color manufacturer uses as a scale. And that's really helpful if you're new to our color range, because then you can just jump into what that shade is. So there's no variation. We'll talk about underlying warmth, because the next slide really relates to this. So this is more like the color wheel, and I said which shades neutralize which shade. So with this, we've got our red tones all the way up to pale yellow. And the next slide really helps support that. So as we're lightening from a very deep 1 level, you're going to see red-orange. So this is where the green works. So our 0.9s work really well to neutralize. On a 2-level, 3-level, where it's more very strong orange, the green, blue, the triple ones work really well. And then you've got your double ones. As you get lighter, the O1s, and then all the way up to your lighter shades, you'll notice that we have the 2 3s, the 3 2s, 2 1. And then really our most popular toner, our most basic popular toner is half lilac and half silver. So really these two guys together, it's our most fundamental toner. Now, there's more than that. There's 3 2s, 2 1s, which are really popular for toning. So 9 2 1, 10 2 1, really popular toning. O1s, you can use 901 and 1001 for toning. They're a little bit stronger. They'll actually give you quite a slaty steel effect. So as I said, we'll get into toning a little bit more in the last module, but just to understand that soft color would be the product of choice that we would recommend to tone with, because there's no risk of base break, and also too there's no ammonia, so it's adding color, adding shine, adding condition, not opening the cuticle, so therefore less to no damage using soft color when it comes to toning. So NAC soft color, color with integrity, as I said before, 86 shades, are harmonious, seamless with NAC permanent. So it's an integrated color system. The dots represent that they're found in soft and permanent. So for example, if I get the gold mahoganies, not all of the shades are found in soft, but pretty much most are. So anywhere where there's a pink dot will tell you that the shade is actually found in soft. Ammonia-free active, so it's not going to create any damage. It's using ethanolamine, which I'll speak about in a minute, to actually open the cuticle, which is quite a modern active ingredient. Liquid Gloss, our liquid demi, has ethanolamine. Metallics has it. So it's a very modern technology that's found in the newer products. So demi, soft color definitely has ethanolamine. It's the key active driver in opening the cuticle instead of ammonia. So a lovely product to work with. We do say it leaves a faded gradual regrowth, but no harsh demarcation line. So it's not like permanent color. It will cover and add color, but it washes out of the hair eventually. Is it permanent? No, it's a demi-permanent. It's half permanent would be a way of thinking about the result. Ethanolamine, as I spoke about before, it's the functional active. This is what's opening the cuticle instead of ammonia. It's great for tone-on-tone color, great for darkening the hair. And where we use it a lot is actually toning and color balancing, or an intro to color. It's great for men's coloring. We speak about this in the next module, as in it's not too strong. If your a client's returning after a permanent color, instead of combing tint through or applying the tint on the ends, we would suggest soft color, because soft color doesn't have ammonia. It's got the ethanolamine. It's going to open the hair, but not as much as permanent color. So therefore, less damage, more color durability, more shine, better for the condition of the hair. So really consider soft color as your balancing color, or as an introduction to color, men's coloring, and definitely toning. So the activators, so there are 2 activators that we do recommend. There's a fine volume, which in most, like consider fine volume when you're adding color. You don't want to really shift the natural pigment. We tend to use 5 volume more for toning. 7 volume when we're color balancing. So in other words, instead of using tint on the ends of the hair after the client's return to have a regrowth touched up, we would use 7 volume and your color of choice. So the beauty is you can match the color because they're found in both permanent and soft. So that's the activators that we would recommend. There is a guide here on activators, but I did really focus on 5 and 7, and predominantly that's what you're going to use. Most color services are 25 minutes, but you'll notice here that demi color, you do have the option of 7 volume. Now you do also, if you've noticed, there's a 10 volume and a 20 volume. So a 10 volume for 1 level lighter, 20 volume for 1 to 2 levels lighter. Now, soft color can lighten, but it's not designed to lighten. Now, for some of you, as an alternative to permanent color, you can push the product a little bit. However, if you really do want to get effective lightening, then we would recommend NAC permanent. But there's an option there for you. Most cases, most of our clients will use soft color to enrich and refresh the color on an existing tint. Or to tone with, very popular for toning, or as an introduction to color. So where the client wants, let's say, a demi color, they don't want permanent, but they want it to last, it's definitely a great product of choice, or men's coloring. Men don't want that full, full coverage. Not all men, I should say. So grey coverage, you can see that there is a mixture there. It's a 1-to-1, and we would use 10 volume. It's very important. The timing there goes all the way up to 45 minutes, and you will need to leave it on for 45 minutes. You've got color balancing, so deposit only, and then toning, 5 volume. We do give you the option of 7 volume, but please, I would ask you to pretty much stick to 5 volume. The reason why we've said 7, some of our clients like a 7 volume to tone with. So start off with 5, see how you like the results. I'm sure that you'll get exactly what you want, but 7 volume will give you what we call it iridescent. It's a lighter effect. So there's 2 options there when it comes to actually toning. So you decide what will be. So what this actually means is that either on wet hair, if you're applying soft color on wet hair, it'll be a bit more diluted. So the result will be softer. The durability won't be there. It won't last as long, and it fades out a little bit more naturally. Where if you're applying it on dry hair, it's a little bit more solid. It's a stronger result, a little bit, not quite like permanent, but a much stronger result. So wet or dry does make a difference. So do definitely consider what you're putting on. So in most cases, soft color when you're toning, it's obviously going to be on wet hair. So the result's going to be quite gentle, quite soft. You get a lot of durability out of it. So the client will need to obviously refresh their color, but they'll get, a good couple of weeks out of the tone. Where if it's applied on dry hair, it's really quite strong. It's actually really penetrating inside the actual cortex of the hair, passing the cuticle, and you get far more of a durable result. The choices are yours. We give you that option. So mixing, so standard mixture is 1 to 1.5. So it's 20 grams of NAC Soft and then 30 mils of either 5 volume or 7 volume. Grey coverage is equal parts, so it's a 1-to-1 mixture, and the processing time goes all the way up to 45 minutes. So as a bit of a hint, when it comes to covering grey hair at NAC, it's always going to be a 1-to-1 mixture. So that kind of gives you the heads up. Well, alternatively, NAC Soft is mixed 1 part to 1.5. So 20 and 30 would be a normal standard mixture for us. So I'll repeat that, 20 and 30. That makes it 50 grams or mils of color all up, and that's a standard mixture using soft color. So color balancing, I spoke about this before. So this is where the client returns. So what do I do? Do I put the same shade on? If it's faded, you can get away with the same shade. So if it's faded one level, you'll notice the 3rd column down, it says select target shade. But if it hasn't faded at all, we do have a clear in the range. There's got no pigment whatsoever. So just use clear. So absolutely do use clear. Now, if it's lost its vibrancy, you may need to go up 1 level. Just don't automatically go the same level that you used last time, because it could be a little bit darker than what you're expecting. So if it's looking good, clear, 1 level lighter. If it's faded, definitely go target shade. If it's faded a lot, so throughout summer, or if they've been on holidays or vacation, and we say 2 levels, just add some natural to give it some hold. Remember that all of our fashion series, so for example, Gold Mahogany has got no base in it. It's got no brown. So you need to add the brown back in, which is our natural. So just to repeat that, only the naturals have base. All of the fashion colors are pure reflect colors. So the copper, and this is copper golds, are pure reflex. So if you've got gray, you must add natural. If it's faded, you must add natural. So that's the only big tip that I'm going to share with you. The rest is so easy. Gray coverage. Well, this can be challenging. Normally we would jump into NAC Permanent, but there is the option of NAC Soft. This, and also too, maybe just to refresh what I've just said there, because quite often a lot of clients want to grow their permanent color out, and we kind of go, oh, no way, like we like you coming back all the time. So instead of totally growing it out, NAC Soft can be a really good option, because it really is a soft, it really fades out and leaves a very, very soft natural regrowth. So if the client's not committed to coming back every 5 weeks, like they're 8 weeks, 9 weeks, soft color is a great alternative. It works really well. We have 2 within the family that works really well for grey coverage. So we have our 0.0s. So I showed you them before. So they're down here. And then we have our 001s. So 0.0s, just natural. What I like to do is mix both. So the 0.0s and the natural intensive So they're 001s. So these one natural intensives. So these are cooler. You can see that they're quite flat compared to, and all of our colors are neutral. So a lot of people say, well, what's your color based on? Is it green? Is it ash? No, they're neutral. So it means that you can put a natural on gray hair and you get natural. So it's very safe, very hard to get green at NAC. If anything, this is where the 001s are quite popular. If your client really likes a flat natural, doesn't like warmth, and says, I hate the red in my hair, and you go, that's not red. 0.6, a cherry red is red, but they just hate warmth. 001 is perfect, and that's also to enact permanent. That teaching is the same in both of the families. Where if they just like a natural, the 0.0 works well. Now, these won't give you 100% coverage, but they will cover and fade off very quickly. So good for clients that want that softer regrowth. Standard mixture, as you can see there, 35 minutes. So it's kind of blended. And then your full-on coverage, definitely leave it on for 45 minutes. Now, the lightest shade I would go is a 9.0. So remember, we go to a 10, but for coverage, 9 is about as light as I would go. Don't expect the 9 to look like a 9. It will look more like a 9-10. And definitely trust the timing, 45 minutes. It's pretty amazing, actually. Every time I've done, I normally mix 9.0 and 9001 equal parts with 10 volume and leave it on for 45 minutes, and you'll be a bit surprised. The coverage is there. Though remember, this is covering the outside of the hair, so it fades off, washes off very quickly, and the gray hair will be visible. So not like permanent, where it's like going straight through the cuticle into the cortex. This is just really sitting on the outside. So good for clients that don't want that full-on coverage. Great for men's coloring, a beautiful color range for that type of result. We do have some shades that are unique to the range. So we have our brights. There's only 2 shades found in bright, which is the violet and the red. So you can see the pink dot there on the red and the violet. The rest of the shades are found in NAC Permanent. Now, these can be used by themselves, solo, or intermixed. It's up to you. If you're going to use them by themselves, by volume, it's pretty much popular. Just remembering that the violet is a fashion violet. For a lot of people that are new to us, they're used to other brands, violet being a toner. It's purple. This is purple. So just be mindful. Don't use the violet as a toner. The violet that you're thinking of is lilac. So I'm going to move straight into color shadows. So where you want to tone that kind of violet-y tone to cool down, lilac is perfect. Our most popular toner is lilac and silver. And it's funny, I've just jumped right into toning, and this module is about everything. The beauty about the rest of the shades, normally for toning, and we'll talk about this in Blonde 360, which is the last one. So lilac, silver, light gray, great combinations. Ash and dark gray, you're not going to use to tone, but they're more, you can use them by themselves to get that gray tone. So if the client wants gray, you'll get gray, just use 5 volume. Obviously, you'll need to pre-lighten, or you can intermix this with a natural to make it flatter. So that's where they work really well. So you've got some really good choices here, lots of control. A very fundamental toning formula is half lilac, half silver. And I will encourage you to look at the rest of the modules, because we have better toners than that. But hey, if you mix half that, you'll be pretty impressed on what sort of toning results you get. So that's the reason I say that it's the most popular mixture across every salon that we actually sell to. But there's, as I mentioned before, there's 2 1s, there's 01s and 3 2s, 9, 3 2, 10, 3 2. Anything at 9, 10 level as a toner is beautiful. So clear, and then we also uniquely have color tones. Now, these are quite strong. So we launched these to be really strong toners. You can intermix these to any shade, or if you just like, I want rose, I want pearl, I want beige, I want amethyst, I want a bluey silver, I want a natural, I want a pink, I want like a very soft cendre. That's where these really come into play. You can use them by themselves. The reason why we brought these out is some of you just want to go, I want that, I want to mix one product. That's where they work really well. Or you can obviously intermix them with any of the shades within the soft color family. Now, they're only found in soft, and then it's also to a clear. So clear is really good for diluting or just to glossify the hair. So it's a beautiful clear product. So professional care, so it's really important that we do look after the hair and we do a proper consultation. Now, allergy tests and skin tests are our recommendations for any client that's a brand new client, or if they've not had their hair color done within a period of time. Now, I'm not going to get into this too much, but within our color manual, there's a whole how to self-analyze and a bit of a checklist. So something I would encourage you to research. You'll have your color manual. Make sure that you've received that from our salesperson or educator, or just get in contact with us, and we can actually either send you an electronic version of our color manual, which covers professional care, or we can send you a hard copy as well. So color support, this is where this makes our color range a bit exciting. It helps supports us when it comes to really looking after the hair. I really like using these products. You don't have to use these, but this just elevates your professionalism, ensures you get the maximum best result on color every time. So we do go on about this, but they're really simple products. So the first product that we would recommend, and this is more to remove powder lightener, is Ultimate Cleanse. Now, Ultimate Cleanse is a really strong clarifying shampoo. It detoxes the hair, removes buildup of chlorine, but more importantly, when you've got powder lightener, so I'll use this word once, bleach, powder lightener, that this will make sure that you're removing all of it. Quite often, a very moisturizing shampoo at the basin with powder lightener doesn't remove all of it. So your first shampoo, if you're removing any of your foils or your blonde work, should be Ultimate Cleanse. Now, if it's a permanent color, don't use Ultimate Cleanse. You could use Hydrate or any other MAC shampoo to cleanse the color. But this is more for any powder lightener, or if there's a buildup of product and you want to do, let's say, demi color service, this is the ultimate in removing any buildup. With that, Porosity Equalizer. Now, I can't live without this. This really helps you enable that you get very even results. It stops color from grabbing when you're toning. And more importantly, it's got a really nice fragrance. It's got a really beautiful, it's almost, how would I describe it? It's, I wouldn't say floral, but it's almost got like a botanical sort of fragrance, without citrusy as well, but it's not like that sickly, you put it on. Or some equalizers, you think, oh boy, the client's got to know I'm putting this on. Very, very easy to use. You can apply as much as you like. So you can, if you're over, sometimes with some color equalizers, porosity equalizers, if you put too much on, it actually stops the color from working. I'm not saying drown the hair in it, but you can be quite liberal, towel dry basin, and this will actually draw the color to where the hair is porous, and repel, I should say, repel hair from where it's porous, but draw the color to where the hair's in good condition. So it will even out your canvas when it comes to toning. So it works really well. Color Support Soothing Fluid, this is a little bit unique to us. It is like it's like a true cream. It's like a very creamy style of product. I'm sure you can see that, but it's quite creamy, but liquidy. And the beauty is that you can apply it around the hairline if you're coloring. Reduces a little bit of staining, doesn't totally get rid of the staining. Soothes the skin. You can use it after color. So if you've got clients that are a little bit sensitive, moisturizer doesn't really do anything, but this will soothe it. It's got lovely natural botanicals that will really soothe the skin down. Also, too, you can add it into the color. So that's where this works really well. So as I said, a standard mixture of color across the board with us is always going to be 20 grams. So just with your mixture, add 5 mils of soothing fluid into the color and then apply it. So it won't affect the color foam working, but what it will do is it will soothe the actual formulation down for the customer. So really quite unique product. We actually do love this. We use this a lot. But you don't have to use it, but it just adds an extra dimension to our color range. Color Fix. Now, you do need to use this all the time. This is the ultimate color lock. It's amazing. What it will do is it will close your cuticle down, lower the pH, and stop the color from working. So quite often, color continues to work. It affects the result where this basically stops chemical oxidization, so the color from working, lowers the pH, so the cuticle's really being closed down, and also detangles and has an amazing fragrance. There's 2 variations, one Color Fix and the blonde. They both do exactly the same. The blonde just has a little bit of a toner. I use this. I use the blonde at least once a week in my hair. It helps actually rebuild the hair. It's got a bit of an active protein, so it's helped rebuilding the hair, closing the cuticle down, and you can get a little bit of color as well. So consultation, it's really important that you start with a 10-step consultation. So warm welcome, permission to analyze the hair, positive communication style, gather previous color history, determine if you're correcting or coloring. So this is where you may need to change your consultation quoting as well. Discuss possible challenges or concerns, creative direction, communicate a clear strategy and achievable plan, and discuss essential home hair care. You must talk about home hair care because they're going to buy their shampoo and conditioner from someone. They should be buying it from you. So let's move through to our what, where, how. And this is how we do a color formula at NAC. So we'll talk about this a little bit more in the next module as well, but we call it the what, where, how. So we would always determine, our first thing is to work out, well, where am I starting from? And that would be our natural base level. The second thing that we're going to look at is how gray the client is. So if it's a little bit gray or a lot gray, we'll need to add some natural, some base, 0.0 or 00 or 001. So we only have the 0.0s and 001s in soft color, but NAC permanent, we have all three. So gray coverage in most cases is going to be a NAC permanent sort of product. Existing shades or what they've got in their hair, where they would like to go, and how you're going to get there. So how are you going to create that formula? So that's how all of our what, where, how works. So in review, well done. Our first module, a great introduction to soft color. We've covered pretty much all of the color families, the levels, the reflex, our primary, our secondary, and combination reflex, how the product works. So soft color, how you can actually get your full potential out of the range. And then we're finished with consultation, and then also to just checking in with the client's color history. And then really just finishing off with what we need to maintain and how to create a formula. Now, I'll talk about this a little bit more in our next module, but a really good introduction to soft color. So thank you. Make sure that you do complete the quiz, as I mentioned before, for Color Essential Module 1. And you're definitely on your way to the whole program. I'd like to thank you for participating. It's been my absolute pleasure to have been online with you, and I look forward to seeing you at one of our other online sessions. Thank you.